Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're embarking on a really fascinating journey, looking into the history of some of the world's rarest, most beautiful, and, well, genetically unique horse breeds.
It really is quite the collection of sources you've pulled together. This isn't just a list of horses, it's um, a deep exploration.
Yeah, the source material feels less like just facts and more like a window into living masterpieces.
That's a good way to put it. What we have is sort of a cross-cultural study tracing these incredible lineages across, well, thousands of years and multiple continents.
So our mission today for this deep dive.
Right, is to go beyond just the stunning images. We want to distill the key facts, the really captivating stories behind what the sources call these golden tales.
And we're focusing on 11 specific breeds, is that right?
11 distinct equine wonders, yes. Looking at their unique appearances, of course, but also their historical uses and the deep cultural ties that, in many cases, ensured they even survived.
You know, the thing that strikes me immediately is just how central these animals are, not just to transport or work, but to human history itself.
Absolutely. They aren't merely workhorses or tools of war in these contexts. They're often sacred figures, reflecting the spirit, the ingenuity of the peoples who bred them.
We're talking about breeds with genetics that, well, they predate modern record-keeping by centuries, millennia even.
Exactly, making them quite literally living pieces of history, living mythology in some cases.
Okay, so where do we begin this exploration?
Well, I think we have to start with a breed that almost seems to defy biology, a horse that looks like it was, I don't know, sculpted from metal, the Akhal-Teke.
The golden glory of the steppes. The descriptions in the sources are incredible. They talk about this coat having an almost unbelievable metallic sheen like bronze.
Woven from sun threads is one phrase used.
Yeah, exactly. And you try to picture it seeing this animal under that harsh desert sun. The sources say it looks like a molten statue just galloping across the landscape.
And what's so fascinating scientifically is that the shimmer isn't just about pigment color, it's structural.
Structural. How so?
Well, the individual hair strands are finer than average, and their core, the opaque center, is often minimal or even absent.
Okay.
So light doesn't just get absorbed, it passes through or refracts off the surface in a unique way. It bounces back, creating that incredible, unforgettable metallic glow.
Wow. So it's like nature's own kind of high-definition finish.
Precisely. And its body, its form, perfectly matches that lustrous appearance. This isn't a heavy draft horse built for brute force.
No, it's lean, streamlined. The Akhal-Teke is built completely for endurance.
The sources rightly call it slim, streamlined, possessing this incredible durability needed for a desert runner.
And size-wise, typically around?
Typically stands about 15.1 to 16.1 hands high. So roughly 1.55 to 1.65 meters at the shoulder. Weighs around 450 kilograms.
It really earns that title, the marathon runner of the horse world.
And that description, marathon runner, it's absolutely rooted in historical necessity. The sources detail its ability to cover, get this, over 60 kilometers in a single day.
60 kilometers, without showing fatigue.
Without showing fatigue and surviving on minimal food and water, which, speaks volumes about its ancient history.
How far back are we talking?
We're talking roots stretching back over 3,000 years.
3,000, incredible.
Which makes it one of the oldest and purest horse breeds known, developed in that incredibly isolated, unforgiving terrain of Turkmenistan.
Bred by the Turkmen people, right? The semi-nomadic tribes.
That's right. And their loyalty, their sheer stamina, made them just invaluable to warriors needing to cross vast, harsh deserts.
So they weren't just transportation. They were vital partners for survival, for conquest.
Oh, absolutely. The essential allies. And the Akhal-Teke's importance hasn't faded. Today, that endurance, that unique beauty, it's made it the ultimate symbol of national pride in Turkmenistan.
Right. The sources even mention a famous gold statue of one in the capital city.
Symbolizing their enduring heritage. A very potent symbol.
And you can see why myths would spring up around it, like the legend mentioned that its sweat shines like gold.
It really speaks to that almost mythical status the horse achieved among the people who depended on it, a profound testament to its value.
Okay, so from that intense, almost burning gold of the steppes, where do we go next?
Well, let's shift to something much more subtle, almost ethereal. The sources bring us to the Perlino.
Ah, the Perlino. Now, this is interesting because, as the sources clarify, it's not actually a separate breed, is it?
Exactly. That's a critical distinction. Perlino is a color, not a breed. We're talking pure genetics here.
So it's about the genes it carries.
Precisely. A horse needs to inherit 2 copies of a specific gene, called the cream dilution gene.
2 copies, so it's not like a Palomino, which just has 1.
Right, a Palomino or a buckskin has 1 copy. 2 copies create this double dilution effect, which dramatically lightens the base coat color, whether that's chestnut, bay, or black.
And the resulting appearance, it's just stunning.
It really is. The double cream dilution gives the coat this ethereal, almost translucent quality. It shimmers like soft gold or maybe silver champagne.
And there's that detail about how it looks under different light.
Yes. Under certain conditions, especially blue light or even strong moonlight, that coat can take on a distinctly blue or lilac hue.
Add that to the striking blue eyes and the pinkish muzzle.
And you get an appearance so unique, the sources suggest people sometimes mistake it for like a computer-generated creature. It looks almost unreal.
But despite that incredibly delicate, otherworldly appearance, the Perlino color is often found in performance breeds, right?
Yes, you'll see it in quarter horses, Andalusians, Lusitanos, even Mustangs. They typically stand around 15 to 16 hands high, strong athletic builds.
So this isn't just a pretty color, it's a specific genetic outcome on a capable, often athletic animal.
And achieving that specific double dilution color, well, that's the real challenge. That's what makes it rare. It requires incredibly careful, meticulous generational breeding plans. You have to breed 2 horses that each carry 1 copy of the cream gene together.
Hoping that the offspring inherits a copy from both parents.
Exactly. And you're doing this while also trying to maintain the desirable conformation, the athletic ability, the temperament of whatever the parent breed is.
So it's a highly specialized, almost high-stakes genetic gamble for breeders.
It really is, which makes that analogy in the source material so perfect.
The one about stardust.
Yeah. Owning one is like owning a piece of stardust, if that stardust could run.
That captures it beautifully. And temperament-wise, they're described as quite calm.
Remarkably so, typically. Calm, curious, quick to learn, often quite affectionate towards humans. So, ideal partners, despite the complexities in breeding for the color itself.
Okay, so from the light and shimmering, let's pivot completely.
Let's do it. We're shifting from the pale glow of the Perlino to deep, glossy darkness. We arrive at the Friesian.
Ah, the Friesian, the ultimate cinematic black stallion. Everyone recognizes this horse.
It absolutely dominates the cultural imagination, doesn't it? Defined by that dramatic, striking presence.
That coat. It's such an intense, glossy black. The sources say the mane and tail, which are so long and thick and flowing, look like oil on water.
It's pure visual drama. And what's interesting is how its other physical traits all contribute to that cinematic quality.
Like the high-stepping action.
Exactly. The high action, that proud demeanor, the beautifully arched neck. It all makes it a favorite for historical films, parades, fantasy settings.
And then there's the feathering.
Oh, the feathering. That thick, luxurious hair on the lower legs and covering the hooves. It's probably the most distinctive feature besides the black coat.
It is stunning. The source points out that it almost makes the Friesian look like it's floating above the ground when it moves.
It does have that effect.
Yeah.
And they're typically substantial animals, too. Anywhere from 15 hands up to well over 17 hands high sometimes.
That height, combined with the solid black coat and that feathering, it gives them incredible visual weight and impact.
But if you look past the show ring glamour, you see its history of real utility.
Right, originally bred in the Netherlands, in Friesland.
They started as powerful medieval war horses, strong enough to carry knights in full armor.
And then as warfare changed?
They adapted. They transitioned to pulling heavy plows in the fields and, crucially, pulling elegant carriages for nobility, especially in cold, muddy conditions where their strength was needed.
So fundamentally, they're willing, hard-working animals.
Very much so. Known for being gentle, surprisingly loving for such an imposing animal, and highly trainable. They connect strongly with their people.
The sources really drive that home, don't they? About the bond.
They do. They say the core insight is that the relationship isn't just about riding. You really enter into a partnership with a Friesian.
That makes sense. That thrive on connection idea.
Yeah.
Maybe it stems from that history. Needing to trust their rider completely on a chaotic battlefield or during hard labor.
It seems very plausible.
Yeah.
Now, staying with that theme of dark majesty, let's turn to the Merguez.
Okay, the Merguez. The sources introduce this Italian breed, though there's some lore connecting it to the velvet shadow of the Pyrenees and dark French forests.
Right. The origin has layers, but its appearance is consistently described as this deep, rich, almost silky black coat that seems to swallow light. Very dramatic.
It sounds incredibly primal, almost ancient. And the hair.
Thick, often wavy, falling like midnight clouds over its neck and shoulders. It's a more compact horse than the Frisian, generally.
Size-wise.
Often around 14.3 to 15.2 hands high, so a bit smaller, more rugged maybe. But what it might lack in sheer massive stature, it makes up for in agility and, crucially, its ancient lineage.
And this is where we hit a real deep dive moment, isn't it? The connection to prehistory.
Absolutely. This is stunning. The sources mention cave drawings found in southern France.
From how long ago?
Dated over 13,000 years old. And these drawings depict horses that are strikingly similar in conformation to the modern merguez.
13,000 years, so it's potentially a living link right back to the Stone Age.
That's the implication, a living link to the Stone Age. It's incredible to think about.
How does a lineage even maintain that kind of genetic consistency through millennia? Through ice ages, wars, agricultural revolutions?
The key seems to be isolation. The merguez developed primarily in a specific region of Italy, the karst plateau of Merge in Apulia.
Okay, so geographical isolation helped preserve the type.
Exactly. That, combined with dedicated breeding by local populations over centuries, helped preserve these ancient features. They're known for being incredibly resilient, very sure-footed, traits you'd need for navigating rough, rocky, forested terrain.
And despite that ancient background, it's quite versatile today.
Highly versatile. It's agile, intelligent, used for mountain trekking, which showcases that sure-footedness, but also notably in equine-assisted therapy programs.
And historical reenactments, too.
Yes, particularly for the Middle Ages, which kind of cements its historical presence in our minds.
And the local folklore still holds them in high regard.
Very much so. Local lore apparently holds them as guardians of the forest spirits. And, when you realize you might be looking at a horse whose direct ancestors were painted on cave walls by Paleolithic humans.
You can understand why that mysticism endures. It's profound.
It really is.
Okay, so from the dark mystics of Italy and France, let's journey south again, to the warmth of Spain.
To Spain, yes. For the Andalusian, often called the royal dancer of the sun.
This breed definitely has that aura of nobility, favored historically by kings, military leaders, poets. It really defines classical Iberian horsemanship.
It embodies nobility. You see it in the conformation, that noble head carriage, the long, beautifully arched neck, the thick flowing mane and tail. It just radiates dignity.
But the defining feature, according to the sources, is its movement.
Oh, absolutely. The sources are spot on here. This horse doesn't just walk or trot. It seems to glide. Even a simple run is performed with this collected, elevated action. It transforms basic movement into something like ballet.
They're very theatrical. And size. They're typically
Usually between 15 and 16.2 hands high. They have that characteristic broad chest and powerful hindquarters, which contribute to that elevated movement.
Historically, they were central to European power and culture, weren't they?
Hugely influential.
Yeah.
They dominated the classical European riding schools, the Akhal-Teke, for centuries. They were the preferred mounts for cavalry officers in ancient battles.
And also used in bullfighting.
Yes, which required an incredible combination of traits. The sources mentioned softness and toughness, meaning they had to be agile, incredibly responsive, able to pivot instantly, the softness, but also immensely brave, strong, able to handle extreme pressure and danger, the toughness. That duality is really central to the Andalusian character.
It makes you wonder, though, with modern sport horse breeding focusing so much on sheer speed or jumping scope, how does this more theatrical, collected style hold its own?
It holds its own through tradition, beauty, and suitability for specific disciplines. While they might not outrun a thoroughbred on a racetrack, they excel in dressage and classical riding.
Where collection, balance, and that kind of engagement are paramount.
Exactly. And the visual impact is undeniable. The sources capture it perfectly with that image.
The one about sunset.
Yeah. When the light reflects off its typically white or gray coat in an arena at sunset, it feels like time itself slows down in respect. It has that kind of presence.
Okay, a perfect counterpoint to that Iberian elegance might be the sheer hardiness of the Norwegian fjord.
Oh, absolutely. The fjord, the stone guardian of the north. It represents a completely different philosophy of breeding. Pure utility, rugged survival.
You see it immediately in the build. Stocky, powerful, clearly adapted for cold and really tough terrain.
And the coat color is so distinctive. That creamy dun color with the defining feature. the dark dorsal stripe.
Running all the way from the forelock, down the neck and back, right into the tail.
Exactly. And often you see leg barring too, those faint zebra stripes on the legs.
Which are considered primitive markings, right?
Yeah.
Suggesting a close link to ancient wild horses.
Precisely. A strong indicator of its ancient lineage. And that famous mane, it's not just cut short for looks.
No, it's clipped upright, almost like a mohawk.
Right, specifically to highlight that central black stripe within the lighter mane hair. It emphasizes its wild ancestry.
And despite being smaller, around 13.2 to 14.2 hands typically?
Yes, relatively compact, but they possess immense strength. A fjord can easily carry a full-grown adult rider or pull substantial loads.
Bred purely for function in Norway, field work, logging, just enduring those harsh winters.
That's right, and the sources are pretty compelling in suggesting their ancestors likely share bloodlines with the horses ridden by Viking warriors.
So they're integral to that whole history of Norse exploration and survival. Living history again.
Exactly. But what's extraordinary, especially considering that rugged Viking-associated ancestry, is their temperament.
They're known for being very gentle, aren't they?
Incredibly so.
Yeah.
Gentle, very patient, especially with children, intuitive, highly trainable, just solid citizens.
Which makes them ideal for things like therapy programs today.
Perfect for therapy work, driving, family horses. They have this steadfast, reliable presence. It kind of reflects the stoicism needed to thrive in the far north, perhaps.
Okay, and rounding out this section on utility and distinct looks, we have the Gypsy Vanner.
Ah, the fairy tale draft horse. Hailing from the British Isles, bred with a very specific purpose by the Romani people, the Roma.
Visually, it's quite striking. It sort of merges draft horsepower with this, well, almost flamboyant style.
It does. You have a strong, compact, powerful body, similar to a small draft. But then the mane is wild, flowing, sometimes compared to a rock star's hair. The tail is equally voluminous.
And the feathering on a Vanner is probably the most famous of any breed.
It's incredible, that extremely thick, long hair flowing down over the hooves. It really does give the illusion of the horse wearing a flowing gown or maybe dancing shoes. Makes every step look grander.
And the purpose behind breeding them was very specific.
Very specific. They were bred by the Roma, the travelers, to pull their heavy, ornate living wagons, their caravans across the country.
So they needed strength, obviously.
Yes, strength to haul those heavy loads day in, day out. But just as crucially, they needed an impeccable temperament. Think about it, life on the road, constantly moving.
Right. They needed a horse that was reliable, totally unflappable around children, dogs, campsites, unpredictable situations. Calmness was key.
Absolutely essential. And though they're often smaller than the true heavy draft breeds, typically standing between 14.1 and 15.2 hands.
The sources describe them as like compressed engines, capable of immense, sustained effort.
That's a good description. And it's that calm, willing nature that's caused their popularity to just explode globally, especially in North America in recent decades.
Because they're great for beginners. Therapy.
Ideal for both.
Yeah.
Inherently patient, willing to please. That breeder quote in the sources really sums it up beautifully.
Which one was that?
The Gypsy Vanner was born to love, to draw, and to be immortalized. They really symbolize a kind of beautiful stability.
Okay, moving into breeds known for truly unique genetics and patterns. Where do we start?
Let's start with the Knapstrupper, a horse that looks like it jumped out of a surrealist painting.
That's a vivid description, and it fits. It's genuinely a walking piece of art.
It is. The coat is defined by a gene complex called the leopard complex, or LP. This creates those incredible patterns of dark spots, usually black or dark brown, scattered over a white or lighter base coat.
And the patterns are totally unique to each horse.
As unique as human fingerprints. Some have dense spots all over, looking almost like giant Dalmatians, as the sources mention.
Right, while others might have spots concentrated over the hindquarters or maybe just a few scattered spots, like abstract art. It's visually breathtaking.
And its origins, Denmark, right. Early 19th century Denmark, yes. It traces back quite specifically to a single mare, a spotted mare, likely of Spanish origin, named Flabe. Her striking spotted pattern captivated a Danish landowner who bought her, and focused breeding began at the Knapstrup estate, hence the name, Knapstrupper, to perpetuate this unique trait.
But what's fascinating is that the sources really emphasize it's not just about the spots. They're known for their intelligence, too.
Very much so. They're described as having sharp memories and enthusiastic, willing attitude. They excel in performance disciplines where quick thinking and trainability are needed.
Like circus work or dressage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Often seen in circus acts historically, and they can reach high levels in dressage and jumping too.
And size-wise, they're pretty versatile.
Generally between 14.2 and 16 hands high, making them suitable for various riders and disciplines. But, maintaining the magic, those unique spotted genetics while also breeding for good conformation and athletic performance requires real skill from breeders.
Right. It has to be more than just a spotted horse. It needs to be a capable athlete under the spots.
Precisely. The source offers that lovely anecdote.
About entering the arena.
Yeah. When an abstrupper enters the arena, the audience doesn't just watch, they whisper. They command your attention immediately.
Okay, from the pattern surrealist of Denmark, let's travel to India.
To India, for the Marwari, the warrior horse instantly identified by its unique ears.
Ah, yes, the heart-shaped crown.
It's one of the most structurally unique features in the entire horse world. Those ears, they're crescent-shaped, lyre-shaped, and they curve inward so much that the tips often touch, or nearly touch, above the horse's head.
Creating that visual of a crown or maybe a heart shape when viewed from the front, it's incredible.
It really is a defining characteristic.
Was there a practical reason for this ear shape besides just the look, or is it purely aesthetic?
Well, there's strong evidence and local belief that the unique shape and mobility they can rotate their ears almost 180 degrees allow them to pick up sounds from much greater distances or from behind.
Ah, a distinct advantage for a warrior's mount on a noisy, chaotic battlefield. Or even for a desert horse needing to locate water or danger.
Exactly. But symbolically, this was the chosen companion of the Rajput warriors of India, bred for immense bravery, resilience, incredible loyalty, and the ability to withstand the harsh conditions of the Rajasthan desert.
Its history is deeply intertwined with military tradition and royalty in India.
Absolutely. The Marwari was the primary cavalry horse for centuries, so highly valued that, historically, ownership was often restricted. They were literally reserved for royalty and the warrior caste. Export was banned for a long time, too.
And this breed remains culturally significant today.
Very much so. A vibrant symbol of honor, heritage. Still features prominently in spectacular Indian ceremonies, elaborate weddings, epic historical films.
And their presence, size-wise.
Typically around 15 hand high, so not enormous, but they move with incredible grace and presence. The sources note that when a Marwari rears up in a ceremony, those iconic ears pointing skyward really emphasize its unforgettable status. It connects living tradition directly to history.
Okay, next we dive into a story from the Americas. The Choctaw horse.
Yes, the Choctaw, described as the whispering spirit of resilience. This breed's story isn't so much about flashy colors or unique features, but about profound survival.
They're smaller horses, right? More rugged.
Yes, typically smaller, around 13 to 14 hands tall, defined by their hardiness, strength, and sure-footedness. Their history is fascinating. They're direct descendants of the Spanish horses brought to the Americas in the 16th century.
The colonial Spanish horses.
Exactly. And these particular bloodlines were meticulously maintained and preserved over generations, primarily by the Choctaw Nation and other southeastern tribes. This gives them unique genetic significance as a relatively pure remnant of those early imports.
And like the fjord, they often show primitive markings.
Yes, it's quite common. Things like a distinct dorsal stripe down the back, faint zebra-like stripes on the legs, sometimes even barring on the shoulders. These are genetic throwbacks that confirm that ancient, relatively unadulterated lineage.
But the core of their story, as the name suggests, is resilience, survival.
It really is. The breed faced near extinction multiple times, most dramatically during the forced removals and displacement events like the Trail of Tears in the 19th century.
Incredibly difficult period.
Absolutely devastating. But the sources detail how, thanks to the incredibly dedicated efforts of indigenous families and breed protectors, often working in secret or isolation, the breed was saved. Small pockets were preserved.
So it's gradually reclaiming its place now?
It is. It's still rare, but it's recovering, maintaining that direct genetic link to the very first horses that set foot on the continent after the Pleistocene extinction.
The cultural insight shared in the sources is really powerful here.
It is. Riding a Choctaw is described as touching history itself. It whispers of tradition, of survival against incredible odds, and the resilience of both the animal and the people who fought so hard to protect it.
It represents a bond forged through shared hardship.
Beautifully put, yes.
Okay, finally we turn to perhaps the most visually surprising breed of all.
The truly enigmatic Bashkir Curly. The hypoallergenic enigma.
This one is just Well, visually shocking compared to other horses. Its defining feature is that completely curly coat.
Right. And we're not just talking about a few waves in the mane. We mean full-on tight curls covering the entire body, the mane, the tail. Sometimes even their eyelashes are curly.
And in winter, that coat gets even more extreme.
Oh, yes. It becomes incredibly thick, dense, and woolly. The sources compare it more to alpaca fleece than typical horsehair, a serious winter coat.
But then there's the miracle feature, as the source calls it.
This is the truly astounding part. The sources confirm that because of the unique structure of this curly hair and the proteins in their dander, the Bashkir curly is often hypoallergenic.
Hypoallergenic. How is that possible with horses?
Well, the specific protein that causes most horse allergies in humans, it's found in skin cells, dander, sweat, saliva, seems to be present at significantly lower levels, or perhaps has a different molecular structure, in Bashkir curlies.
So many people who are typically allergic to horses.
Can interact with this breed, groom them, even ride them, without having an allergic reaction. It's an incredible rarity in the equine world, a genuine game changer for some people.
So it's not just a quirky look, it's a fundamental biochemical difference that allows for connection for people previously excluded from the horse world due to allergies.
Exactly. And beyond the curls and the hypoallergenic trait, utility-wise, they're described as strong, sturdy, generally friendly horses,
Size.
usually between 14.2 and 15.2 hands tall.
Mm-hmm.
So good medium size, suitable for families, trail riding, general use, hardy animals.
But their origins are a bit mysterious. Adds to the enigma.
Very much so. The exact roots are debated. Some historical accounts point to the Ural Mountains in Russia, connecting them to the Bashkir people there, hence the name.
Okay.
But other evidence, including genetic studies and Native American oral traditions, suggests that similar curly-coated horses may have existed independently, bred by indigenous tribes in North America for centuries. It seems to be a genetic mutation that might have popped up in multiple locations, especially under harsh climate conditions where a thicker coat would be advantageous.
So the true origin story is still debated.
Still somewhat mysterious, which only adds to their unique appeal, I think.
And that visual anecdote the source provides, it captures the strangeness beautifully.
The curly-haired stallion running through the snow.
Yeah, its woolly mane swaying like a pulsating cloud. It's such a bizarre yet wonderful image, a true study in adaptation and genetic surprise.
Absolutely, a perfect example of equine diversity.
Wow. This deep dive really has spanned the globe and, well, millennia of history. We've gone from that 3,000-year-old golden runner, the Akhal-Teke,
Through the ancient, almost velvety shadows of the Merkase,
to the walking art of the nap stripper.
the whispering history carried by the Choctaw.
And finally, that hypoallergenic miracle, the Bashkir curly. It's just staggering, the sheer diversity, the depth of history, the pure aesthetic beauty wrapped up in the equine world.
It really is. And if we try to synthesize, the core lesson from looking at all these incredibly different breeds,
What stands out?
I think it's the undeniable truth of the horse-human partnership. It's intense, it's adaptive. Each one of these breeds profoundly reflects the unique geography, the survival needs, the cultural values, even the spiritual reverence of the specific people who developed and preserved them.
They really are living records of human civilization, aren't they? Embodied history.
Absolutely. A profound testament to loyalty, to coevolution, to incredibly specialized breeding over centuries, even millennia.
It makes you think. We often measure value or worth in the natural world by purely practical things: utility, speed, strength, market price.
Usual metrics.
But what do these breeds tell us? Breeds preserved not just for raw power or speed, but often because of their unique beauty, their unwavering loyalty, their distinct character, or even just their deep historical significance. What does that teach us about how we define worth in the natural world?
That's a fantastic question. Do we sometimes value the history itself? The genetic anomaly, the sheer aesthetic, perhaps, even above pure utility?
It certainly challenges a purely utilitarian view. Something for you, our listeners, to perhaps mull over as you go about your day. What truly constitutes value when we look at the living world around us?